cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. The king of Marigold was in the kitchen cooking breakfast for the queen. The queen was in the parlor playing piano for the children of the king. Well, cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. So cry, baby, cry. The king was in the garden picking flowers for a friend who came to play. The queen was in the playroom painting pictures for the children's holiday. Cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. So cry, baby, cry. The Duchess of Kilkenny, always smiling and arriving late for tea. The Duke was having problems with a message at the local bird and bee. Well, cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. So cry, baby, cry. 12 o'clock, a meeting round the table for a seance in the dark. With voices out of nowhere put on specially by the children for a lark. Well, cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. So cry, baby, cry, baby, cry. Make your mother sigh. She's old enough to know better. So cry, baby, cry. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Cry Baby Cry by the Beatles, a real John Lennon classic. Actually recorded a version of this at Abbey Road with Katie Mellower singing. I'm sure there's a version around on the internet of that somewhere. Anyway, this song is a really great one for advancing beginners. It's primarily open chords with some fun rhythms, but it's got that really nice descending bass line, which is a lot easier than it sounds. So let's get to a close-up and check it out. The song starts with the chorus, and there's 2 beats on every chord. It goes G to A minor, F, and then to G. E minor to A to F. And then we head to the verse. In that first chorus, the F is played just for 2 beats and it goes directly into a verse. So it's a 2/4 bar. It's a bar with only 2 beats. But all subsequent choruses add a G after the F chord. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get there. But just be aware that the very first chorus there is cut a little short. The rhythm for the intro is a bass strum and then a full strum. So we end up with this bass, chord, 1 and 2 and. That's the pattern. So you're just doing like a bass heavy strum first and then a full chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, F to G. E minor, A, F, and then we're into the verse. Okay, so that will be G baby, A minor, F, make your mother G. She's E minor enough to know A chord, F, to the verse. The verse progression is 2 bars of E minor, but with a descending bass line. The bass line is moving from the E to a D sharp, to a D, and then to a C sharp. Then we've got C to G. That's the chord progression. E minor with a E bass, E minor with a D sharp bass, E minor with a D bass, E minor with a C sharp bass, C chord, G chord. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, C sharp, C, G. Now, because our E minor chord is lots of open strings, we've got the open thicker string, That's our standard E minor. So what you want to do is, I tend to use my third finger here. You could use other fingers. And I've put the third finger down on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and I'm laying it slightly flatter, so I'm muting the 4th string, but I can let those thinnest 3 strings ring open. Also probably want to mute the thicker string as well. You can do that either with the tip of the third finger pressing up to mute the thicker string, or you could use your thumb. So what I'm getting here, even on a full strum, is mute, 7th fret, mute, and then the 3 open strings. Okay? Now by doing that means we can still kind of get that strum and just move that bass note down to C. You could use different fingers if you want, doesn't really matter. C, G. Now, on the original recording, of course, there's a guitar in there, but there's a lot of piano as well. The piano's really highlighting that bass note there. So you probably want to have a few different approaches to give the song a little bit of character as you work your way through, different dynamics. Now, one of the things that I like that I think works really well for the earlier part of the song is playing this even 8th note pattern where we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. On the E minor. So I'm just playing the bass note. Again, I can strum a little bit bigger, but I'm targeting the bass note 1 and 2. And on beat 2 and beat 4, I'm doing the full strum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Now again, there's a little quirk there where we just have the 2 beats going back into the chorus. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a sec. What I would encourage you to do is to have this pattern where you 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... But also later in the song particularly, you hear that it really drops down in the later verses about the Duchess of Kirkcaldy and the 12 o'clock meeting seance verse. Those ones is really just the piano. There is an acoustic guitar you can hear playing in the background, but I think it works really well to drop that right down. Just have the 12 o'clock meeting round the table, down the seance in the dark. Adds dynamic to the song, because remember when you're performing a song, particularly on your own on acoustic guitar, you want to have a good dynamic range there, so the choruses kind of lift up and the verses come a little bit more quiet. You want your audience listening to it when you're playing a verse, listening to the words and then singing along for the chorus. That's kind of a good way of thinking about it. You want to be quiet, force people to listen, then louder in the choruses to get people to sing along. I would encourage you to experiment in making this your own version, but as a good starting point, you might want to play the chorus the same every time, but start with this, the chord on the 2 and 4 thing. Maybe use that for the first 2 verses, and then just 1, 2, 3, 4, just playing the bass note. Use that for the later 2 verses maybe. If you happen to know about octaves, you could use this little octave shape, so we're playing muted note, the note E, 7th fret, muted note, 9th fret on the 3rd string, and the other strings are muted as well. Again, it's just about giving some sort of variation as you play through the song to keep it interesting for the listener. The verse chord progression is repeated. On the second repeat, instead of going to the G chord and continuing onto another verse, the G chord becomes the first chord of the chorus, because the chorus starts with the G. So we've got another little 2/4 bar there. So if I just make that clear again, so the second, actually just play the whole verse so you can nice and clear. So we have the E bass note, D sharp, D to C sharp, C to G, 4, and again, E bass note, D sharp, D to C sharp. Now we've got C2. Then we're chorus now. Make your mother cry. You're old enough to know better. You cry, baby, cry. And notice then, of course, as I mentioned in the intro there, all of the subsequent choruses have the F to G, 4, and then it goes back to the verse. So the first chorus has a 2/4 bar where it just plays the F chord for 2 beats, then it goes straight into the verse. The verse chord progression on the repeat of the chord progression, when it changes to the G chord, that G chord becomes the first chord of the chorus, giving us another 2/4 bar. Okay, what I'm going to do now is play through the intro, the first verse, the first chorus, and then a little bit of the next one with the count along, so you can clearly see how these 2/4 bars work. It feels very musical, which is a really great use of an odd time bar, like having these 2/4 bars in there. It doesn't feel weird. If you listen to it, you might not even notice that they were there, right? And that's good songwriting. What you don't usually want is odd time bars to stand out. And this is a beautiful example of doing it great. So let's start off at the beginning. So 3, 4. So G, baby, A minor, F, make your mother G, E minor's going to A chord, 2 beats on F. Now in the verse, 2, 3, 4, E, and going to C sharp, to the C, to G, the E bass to the D sharp, then to D chord, then a C sharp, then to C, and G, that's the chorus to A minor, F, then we're going to G, E minor's going to A chord, and F going to G, back to the verse, E bass, D sharp bass to D bass, then to C sharp bass, then to C, to G, and again, E minor, then to D sharp, then to D, then to C sharp, going to C for 2 beats, then G, that's the chorus to A minor, F goes to G, the E minor's enough to know A chord, and F, baby, G. Now, the only other time we get that little quirk is in the repeat of the chorus. I think on the original recording it goes around 4 times at the front of the tune. A little demo thing there, I just did 1 repeat of the chorus. But on the repeat of the chorus, when it goes to the G, ah, baby, cry, it goes, cry, baby, cry. So again, it just jumps ahead. It chops off 2 beats of the G, of the ending, and makes it into the beginning of the next chorus. Again, listen to the little demo at the front, or listen to the original recording even better, and you should be able to get a grip with that. A really good idea with a song like this is just being able to strum along with the chords real simple. Make sure that you're aware of the form before you start adding any rhythm. So literally just being able to go, cry, baby, cry, make your mother cry. Just doing that along with the original recording, and then knowing there's F2. Now the verse, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That kind of practice, really valuable. Play along with the original recording. Give yourself a chance to get the melody into your head as well. 1, 2, the chorus, cry, baby, cry. It's really, really important that you get the chord changes before you try and work on the rhythm. Okay, it'll really help you memorize the structure of the song as well, which in a song like this, particularly if you're playing it with somebody else, you really want to make sure that you get your structure well sorted out, because it is an easy one for it to fall apart if one person adds an extra couple of beats there and the other person doesn't. It can get weird. I've got loads of Beatles song lessons over on the website, so do go and check it out, justinguitar.com/songs, and you can just type in the search field Beatles and you'll find out all of the songs that I've got there. If you happen to be over on YouTube, I really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. YouTube tells me all the time that there's a very small percentage of people who watch my videos actually subscribe, and it really does make a much more difference than you probably realize for the growth of the channel, and it inspires me to keep on giving you more free song lessons. So please, if you got a second there, click that red button, maybe the bell icon if you want to get notified when I've got new lessons coming out as well. Hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. Bye bye.